Okay, welcome back. You know, I couldn't find the UMask command in here someplace. I know it's in one of these guys. I just can't remember which one it is. So you remember that pattern matching guy we did? The one called grep? So I can say grep, UMask, and then a list of files that I want it to check in. So I'm basically trying to do a search inside some files. I don't know which one it is, so I'm just going to say dot asterisk, which means all the ones that start with a dot. And, okay, there's a bunch. There's one in bash history, and there's one in profile. So it's dot profile, not bash rc. Okay, let's just take a peek. So I'm going to invoke an editor to go look at this. Rather than just doing less on the thing, I'm actually going to fire up an editor called vi, which we're going to talk about a great deal in the next chapter. So I'm going to say vi.profile. And so now I'm set up so that I could edit this file. So this is a typical configuration file where it uses a pound sign as a comment. So if I wanted to uncomment that out, there's a technique, and I just hit the X key to delete that guy. And I'm going to use the arrow key over here, and I'm going to change this to 22 rather than the, well, hang on. Whoops, well, that was close. So change it to a 22 rather than 002, it's 022. Okay, so if I was to save this, which I'm going to do now, then now when I log in the next time, I'm going to get a different UMask. To tell you the truth, I'm not going to leave it that way, so as soon as I'm done with this video, I'm going to go put it back because I don't want to make changes to these kinds of things. So that was kind of a gentle view of the VI command, which is the next chapter. Okay. So just to continue at this chapter, the export command is used to specify which one of those variables get passed down to the children. You might want every single one of those variables to be passed down to the children. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe there's some specifics going on where you want the child to have its own set of environmental variables. So the export command does that. Okay. So if I was to make changes now to this guy, how would the UMask get changed? Well, one way to do it is to go ahead and log out and log back in, which seems kind of an awful lot of work. Perhaps there's another way. There's another way you can do it. You can do source. And what source means, if I say source.profile, source basically says, just pretend like you've logged in. You don't actually have to log out and log back in again. All it does is just rerun those things that happened at the beginning. So now my UMask really is 022. Kind of makes sense? Cool. Okay, so that's all of chapter 11. Are you ready for chapter 12? Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so on page 138, they start talking about the VI editor. Now, there's lots of editors out there. There's a lot of command line editors. There's a good one called Nano, and quite frankly, if you want to use Nano, that's fine. Nano is very simple. It's lightweight. It's sort of like Notepad. The VI editor has a long history, and there's an awful lot of I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe status associated with those people who have mastered the VI command. So there's an awful lot of them out there. There's a couple of command line editors called EX, okay? But there's snobism associated with VI over like Nano. And it makes it a very good resume stuffer. I mean, if you're on a resume and you go, well, of course I use VI. And in fact, I downloaded the DOS version of it so I can run it on my Windows machine, you know, that kind of stuff, then you're kind of going to impress them because VI is tough. If you know VI and you tell people you know VI, what they're actually saying is, I'm a practitioner, I kind of sort of do this for a living, I know what the heck I'm talking about. It's that important from a resume point of view. Okay, now, there's an awful lot of stuff here, and I promise I try not to punish you with stuff that you have to memorize. But I'm just saying. So, why should you learn VI? Well, it's available on every single distro. That's cool. It's very lightweight and fast. You can edit, huge files with no trouble. Just the snob factor. Okay, that's kind of important because you're trying to stuff your resume. Snob factor kind of matters. So to start VI, you type in VI. Or you can type in VI and then the name of a file. It'll create the file. So for example, I'm going to say junk.txt. Remember, text doesn't mean anything. So I have now started the editor, and I'm running on a new file called, junk. Okay, so I want to type Mary Had a Little Lamb. So I'm going to do a capital M. What? What the heck's going on here? Well, VI has two operating modes. It has an insert mode and a command mode, and these are very important. You have to kind of keep them straight in your head. The VI editor wakes up in the command mode. Now, the most likely thing that you would have to type to get into the insert mode would be the letter I for insert. You can also use A for a pin, but I'm just going to use I. So I type the letter I, and now at the bottom it says insert. Ooh, cool. So you can instantly look at your screen and see if you're, oh, wait a minute, I'm in the insert mode or I'm not. Okay? So now I can type, Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow. Cool. Now I'm done, and I want to get out and go back to the command mode for some reason. You hit the escape key, and watch what it does down at the bottom. Okay, it pops that guy out, so now I kind of sort of know I'm not in the insert mode anymore. Cool? So the first thing we're going to know is how to quit. Okay? Well, to quit, I have to be in the command mode, which is where I am, and most commands, not all, but most commands start with a colon. And so I say colon W. W means write, which means save this. Because, right, I typed a poem, by God, I want to save it. So I hit the button. Cool. To quit, I would say colon Q. Now, I could type WQ, which means write and quit. Kind of cool at the same time. So now I'm back to my command prompt, and I have a file called junk.txt. Cool beans? Okay, let's try this again. VI junk.txt. Cool, and now I'm still in the command mode. Okay. Now, in the command mode, I can use the arrow keys to move things around. That kind of makes sense. And then I have to know some of these goofy commands. Okay. So let's just, I talked about the A command. If I was to hit I, where's the cursor going to go? It's going to go between the L and the E, right? So insert, and I say, I don't know, right? Kind of makes sense. I'm gonna escape out. If I was to go get back there, and I said A appends to the end. Okay, see how that kind of worked? Okay, so I is for insert, A is for append. Kind of cool. If I want to add a new line, okay, if I want to add a line below me, I type the letter O. O stands for open. Don't worry what that means. So O. Kind of cool? Hey, by the way, I'm going to do undo, which would be colon U. Kind of cool? So now I'm going to move the cursor down somewhere in this line, and I want to create a new blank line above me. Well, that would be capital O. So little o means create a line below me. Big O means create a line above me. If I want to delete a particular character, for example, I got that A there, I can just hit the X. Now I'm in the insert mode, so if I type X now, that's not going to do what I want, right? So I have to escape out and go XX to make those things go away. So that's the character delete. There's other kinds of deletes. One of them is called delete word, so it's DW. Okay, I'm going to go back and undo that. Another one is delete to the end, which would be $. $, takes it all the way to the end. I'm going to hit a U to get back. Okay, kind of cool. So if I want to delete the entire line, you just repeat the thing. So DD would delete the whole thing. So DD. Cool? Alrighty. So that's kind of the basics of this thing. There are a few others. Yank, which is copy, is YY. If I want to copy an entire line, for example, and move it around, I would do YY. To yank the current word would be, YW. And to yank to the end of the line would be Y dollar sign. You see the pattern, right? You know, like, okay. Paste is P. And remember, X is here's a very cool kind of a coincidence. Okay, it's kind of hard to describe, but so let's say I want to change the order of the LA. Okay, I want to transpose them. Well, X will make it go away, right? And P will make it paste. Okay, now look, that's a coincidence. X was always delete character. P was always paste. But isn't it kind of cool that XP is transpose? Again, I think it was just a coincidence. I mean, really, okay? All right, so I'm going to undo that. I'll probably have to undo twice to get that to work. Cool, so now I'm undoed. I made up a word. Okay, so I'm going to move the arrow down, and I want to make that line go away. How did I do that? D? Okay, cool. And now I want to join these two lines together. And so I don't want them to be on separate lines. I want them to be like continuing. So I'm going to use the capital J. J for join. Okay? Kind of sort of makes sense. So copy and paste is yank and paste, Y. Delete is X. Well, X is for a single character. For deleting a word, a line, or end a line is all D. And then, of course, you can always do undos. Okay? Now, look, I know this is a little weird, and you're just going to have to take it with a grain of salt. But trust me, learning VI, even though it's a little clumsy, makes sense. Let me explain a little bit more about how it got to where it is. In the old days, when you had dumb terminals, it wasn't clear and obvious that every terminal was going to have arrow keys. I mean, we kind of take that for granted now, right? Every PC has arrow keys. Well, in the old days, that wasn't necessarily true. And so there's alternate ways of moving around. When I'm in the command mode, I can use my home key. You know how you have your right-hand key on the keyboard is JKL. You know that? Well, I can actually move around using those commands without actually having to use arrow keys. I kind of use that because I like to keep my fingers, you know, I'm a fast typist. I want to keep my fingers on the home keys of the keyboard. I don't want to have to stop and go find out where the, you know, if I have to use the arrow keys, I'm going to have to avert my eyes and go look down and find the arrow keys before I can operate them. Okay, that's just me. Maybe not you. That's kind of sort of how that works. Okay, kind of makes sense. So one more time, if I want to get out, I'm going to do a quick, well, okay, I'm going to do a WQ combination. Okay, cool. There you go. Okay, we've reached a good stopping point, and we'll continue this in one more video.